Member's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, how humiliating it must be for them, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. I apologise to the member. A point of order from the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
It was making so much sense. I move an extension of time.
You could seek leave to do so, obviously, and I don't even think the member's bothering to do that. I call Jackie Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How humiliating it must be for them, isn't it? Despite spending nearly $500,000 involving the entire membership of the Labour Party, of the Green Party and most of the unions, they were unable to get enough valid signatures on their little petition to try and stop the partial sale of state-owned enterprises. How humiliating for them. Do you know, the Greens spent $91,000 of their budget, that's their publicly funded budget, that's the budget allocated them for parliamentary services, buying signatures. Labor allocated 30 hours a week, Labor allocated publicly funded hours of MP time and resources, and I'd love to hear a more comprehensive list of the public money that Labor spent on this petition. And the unions paid a national coordinator for 3 months to run this petition. What else did they do? All this, so what, says Clayton Cosgrove, so what? All this to buy signatures. All this effort, and they were way, way short, with over 110,000 signatures counted to be invalid. People signing 2 and 3 times, people not on the electoral roll, people who never existed. It's kind of like they thought in their innocence, in their cute little happy innocence, they kind of thought that the Clerk of the House wasn't going to check. Well, the Clerk of the House did check. Labor Greens have ripped off the New Zealand public. They have used public funds to buy signatures. And they were so lazy, they were so arrogant that they didn't bother to check that 1 in 4 of those signatures, 1 in 4 of those signatures are made up, are false, are duplicated, are bogus signatures. The Labor Greens said they had massive support. They didn't have massive support. They had to buy that support. And even then, with all that effort and all that public money, they have fallen well short of the public support that they needed. Do you know what? The Labor Greens should try playing within the rules. When the Labor Greens issued a press release saying they had 393 genuine signatures, guess what? They were wrong. They have been exposed as playing fast and loose with the democratic process. And do you know what? They should just apologise. They should apologise to all those New Zealanders they tried to dupe. Do you know what? Support that has to be bought is not support that is freely given, and therefore is no support at all. Do you know what? The national government has always been upfront about the policy of partial sales of the state-owned enterprises. We campaigned on the policy. Going into the 2000 election, we played by the rules. We took that policy to the country. What was Labor's flagship 2011 election policy? What was it? No asset sales. Well, guess what? They won 27, and GST off fruit, that won them 27% of the vote. Our election commitment to the New Zealand public was to protect New Zealand's economy through a program of partial sales of energy SOEs. We went to the country, the National Party went to the country with a plan to responsibly manage the nation's finances and to build a more competitive and productive economy, and that is what we are doing. Labor, on the other hand, well, it's kind of lost its way. They're opposed to all the initiatives that would create jobs and to boost incomes. They are increasingly out there in the public, being known as the anti-growth party. And it's kind of becoming a bit obvious that under the influence of Grant Robertson and Russell Norman, the Labor Greens are shifting ever further, ever further, ever further to the left. They want to do things like increase the impact on ETS on households to the tune of $500 a year. They want to discount the price of electricity by around $300 a year, with a net increase to the households of $200 a year. With that kind of freakonomics, no wonder they are getting increasingly desperate. Mr. Speaker, National's policy is to responsibly manage the country's finances, build a competitive and productive economy. It's what we said we would do, and it is what we are doing.
Honourable Shane Jones.
So the only thing that could be said for that speech is that she didn't try and sing a song. Just when we thought that Paul Kuhn, just when we